Welcome back to Ask SAR. This week's question is, what about oral sex? I got asked recently about oral sex, and I thought, here's a topic that isn't talked about quite enough. People do it all the time, but they rarely actually have a conversation about it. So let's bring it here to the show, and we can open that conversation in a good and honest way. The first question I got asked is, how do you have good oral sex? Well, to have good oral sex, it starts with the mouth. And by that I mean it starts with having good communication. Now, people often don't talk about it, right? There are issues that come up when people try to talk about it. Maybe they stammer a little bit, maybe they have some trouble speaking about it. But really, to have a good experience with oral sex, know what you want and be able to express that to your partner. By the same token, ask your partner what they want and be able to listen to them when they tell you. Maybe talk about the experiences you've had, good or bad, what you would like to do in the future. Once you have that baseline, then you can begin to experiment from there and find out what other things might work for you. Another question I got asked was, how do I ask my partner about oral sex? It can sometimes be a hard thing. Sometimes people feel shame about asking for it. Sometimes people feel ashamed for having it. I don't really think that shame is a good thing. I think having an open and honest conversation, like I said before, is really important. So how do you ask your partner for oral sex? You say, hey, would you like to have oral sex tonight? It sounds simple, but it really can just be that simple. Asking an open and honest, authentic question leaves the door wide open, right? It builds trust between you and your partner and allows them to answer in an open, honest, and authentic way. Another question I got was, what if I don't like the smell or the taste? Oral sex involves the genital area, and sometimes, that can bring smells and tastes that we're not normally used to. If you don't like it, then that's okay. It's not something you have to do. Like any sexual act, oral sex should not be something that's required. It should be something that's chosen. You really want to try, when this topic comes up, when this issue comes up, is to try to avoid increasing feelings of self-consciousness, either in yourself or in your partner. One phrasing that works that you might think about is, I would enjoy giving you oral sex more if you washed first or if you took a shower first. Talk about your feelings, your enjoyment, your wants, and then invite your partner into that in a way that's more pleasurable for both of you. So another question that comes up and gets made fun of all the time by comedians in movies and TV shows is to spit or to swallow. Now, everyone's ejaculate tastes different. Ejaculate taste is dependent on many things. It's dependent on stress levels, hormone levels, the foods you're eating at any given time. So if you don't like the taste, you don't have to swallow. You don't have to leave it in your mouth very long. But there are ways you could experiment to try to change that taste and maybe make it a little bit more palatable. Now, whether you spit out or whether you swallow depends on whether your partner, male or female. Yes, women do ejaculate, and yes, this is a question that both men and women have to ask for themselves and with their partners. Is that what you want? It is really a very personal choice. So just make that choice for yourself based on what you want. It doesn't have to be the same all the time. And communicate that to your partner. What is most comfortable for you, and what's going to make it most comfortable for you to continue to engage in the practice of oral sex, which I'm sure that your partner will enjoy. Final question is oral sex safe? Now, the answer is yes, oral sex can be perfectly safe. And right? Having sex of any variety has a possibility for sexually transmitted infection transmission. So is oral sex safe? Yes, and it can be a method of infection. So you want to practice safer sex. You want to have the conversation that says, what is my infection status? What is your infection status? What boundary methods are we going to use? What barrier methods are we going to use? Basically, how do we keep each other safe and our partner safe so that we can engage in these really fun activities and continue to do that in a way that nobody gets hurt? So what about oral sex? Well, oral sex is a good thing. It's an enjoyable thing. It can be a great time, and it all starts by using the mouth, with good communication. You've been watching Ask SAR. My name is Sar Sermic. If you have any questions about this episode, anything we talked about, other questions about oral sex, or other questions about anything in general, you can leave them in the comments. Email me directly or talk to me in person if you happen to see me. Like this episode, share it with other people. The conversation about oral sex doesn't happen enough. Too many people keep quiet about it. And this would be a great way to open that up for so many other people. And finally, subscribe. We do this every week, and I'm sure we're going to have many more interesting things to talk about.